Denton Davidson, senior editor for Gold Derby here with our TV directors panel. Joining me today from The Daily Show with Trevor Noah on Comedy Central, David Paul Meyer. From The Morning Show on Apple TV+, Mimi Leader. From The Pursuit of Love on Amazon Prime, Emily Mortimer. From Swagger on Apple TV+, Reggie Rock Bythewood. And from This Is Us on NBC, Ken Olin. Thank you all for joining our TV directors panel. Such a diverse group here, so I'm excited to have each of you with me. I'm just curious to know, as directors who have all had different levels of experience, but you've all at least completed your first film or television show. If you look at what you know now as a director, and you could tell yourself at the beginning of your career one thing about directing, what would you tell yourself or another up-and-coming director?
Well, I'm going to cheat on this because they make us at the show talk to the interns, who are every semester. So I always talk to them about, for me, I think the thing that we talked about a little bit at film school, but it has really hit home to me is just this idea of moments. Like whenever you think about your favorite film or show or whatever, you're really thinking about, I feel like a lot of times those key moments, whatever it was, like a piece of dialogue or some shot or whatever. And so I always try to think about moments. And that would be a thing that I would tell my younger self, or I do tell the interns here, is just think about those moments. It usually starts with a script, but so many of your choices as a director come from how you make those moments that you're probably visualizing in your head. How do you make the audience feel that moment as well? And picking those moments in your project and really making sure that they hit home. So that would be the thing that I would tell them to focus on, really, is just like, what are those key moments in your project? And like, what are all the aspects of directing film or television making that go into making those key moments really stand out? And I think, just hearing people talk about that even now on their questions, it really stands out to me even more of how important that is.
Mimi, how about you?
Well, when I'm directing, I get very emotionally involved. And I think it's really important to follow your instincts always, because there's often a lot of noise, right? And there's the schedule, and you got to hit the mark, and you got to be done, and you got to. But when you're in the moments, and you're searching for them, and something surprisingly beautiful happens, it's, as Ken said, one of the most incredible feelings. It's just, the juice, and you can't really get to those moments unless you're in the moment. And so I would say to a younger director or new director, any director, is, cut out all the noise and follow your heart and your gut, and I think that way you'll really find it.
And Emily?
Well, I so agree with that, but everything everyone said, and I feel like a lot of it is in the moment, going with the moment, and then when it comes to putting it all together, it's understanding rhythm and the rhythm of a scene and the rhythm of an episode, or it's kind of in some ways instinctive, but I think that you have to sort of, I think that you have to know that you do know what a good story is and what good storytelling is. We just know it innately. We know it as human beings, and everyone is a storyteller, and you kind of have to listen to that, and basically know when to cut the scene, when to hold back, when to let it go. And we know those things. We just know those things as people. And also to what Ken was saying earlier, as actors, I would encourage anyone who's listening, who's an actor, who's wondering about directing, to do it. Because I do think that if you're a director, whether you're a director, a writer, an actor, any of it, we're all storytellers. We know how to tell a story. An actor, in doing a scene, is telling a story, and understands innately a sense of rhythm, and when to hold back, and when to give more, and when to give less. And so that you can direct, if you know those things, you can direct, and a director's job is to let the actor do that, and then afterwards to Mimi's point, then afterwards you collect it all together. You let the moments happen and you collect it all together, and then you work the rhythm in the edit.
Reggie, how about you?
I would say to not shy away from having something to say. Quite often in the industry, you can get hit up about that. You can take a couple of hits for having something to say, and sometimes you might feel embarrassed by that, but having something to say can be your superpower. And so I would encourage all filmmakers to just cherish that, to cherish their voice, to be aware that, I love the part of the conversation about moments. One of the things that I really love doing are moments that have no dialogue. And so like these moments of power of silence, you could say so much without saying any words. And that's something I really, really love exploring. And I'd also just say the way your crew looks, it matters. It doesn't just matter because it looks great, but sort of the purpose of diversity is to challenge our perspectives and to make us better and give us new ideas and inspire us. So I would say to filmmakers, don't shy away from that and use that as a superpower.
And Ken, how about you?
I think probably from my younger self, I'd probably, and it has something mostly to do like what Mimi said about, I think I would have told myself to calm down a little bit, mostly because of it took me a really long time, and maybe it comes with experience, but it took me a long time to go, I know I'm in trouble here. I made either the bad choice or the block, whatever it is. It took me a long time to go, stop the noise. Everybody is freaking out around you or all of that stuff. And you feel so much pressure in that way. And I think it's true. And maybe this comes from having experience as an actor or whatever, but you really can't do very good work when you're so incredibly anxious and tense. And I would have told myself, if you give yourself a moment here, you can figure it out. You'll figure it out. So I think that's probably more than anything what I would have told myself when I first started directing, and it was on 30 something. So people were nice to me because I was also #1 on the call sheet. And I go listen to dailies, and they'd say, we're rolling, and everybody, and then quiet, and you would hear me yell every single take, everybody settle down. And there was nobody talking, but it was like me freaking out. And apparently the DP went outside and he was kicking a dumpster, and nobody could tell me like to chill out. And I think I was just so tense. And I think it took me a while, but if you do take that moment as a director, just you'll figure it out, and you won't figure it out if all you do is hear the noise. So I think that's a really, really been a good lesson for me. Certainly people wouldn't have gotten such a headache.
My next question, maybe I'll throw it to Reggie first, because it was inspired by one of your episodes in Swagger about imposter syndrome, because I thought it would be interesting to hear about that from everyone, where you reach a level of success and you feel like maybe you're undeserving to be in the room, or you're undeserving of a nomination. And I'm curious about when any of you have maybe had imposter syndrome, or just shocked, like, I can't believe I just got nominated for this award. I can't believe I'm in this room with this person. I'm curious if you could answer that. When was your first moment with imposter syndrome, Reggie?
I think early in my career, I was able to put some projects together with some really big and great people. And one in particular, I don't want to say the guy's name, but he's, hugely famous. And I went in there like really, really trusting myself. And then somewhere along the way, all the voices were saying, no, that's not it. No, that's not it. And started to not trust myself, or maybe trusting myself and honoring my voice, that it could work, and I think that when it didn't work, I just sort of like questioned, is there room in this industry? Is there room, like can I pull this off, And then something just sort of happens where you turn the corner and then, your voice is heard, and then you start to build steam and momentum. And so I think that probably in every project I do, I'm like, man, are you kidding me? Can you really do this? But then what's great is you have these moments that you can pull from and say, yeah, I did it then. And what if I do it even greater now? So, that's the sort of thing, the sort of imposter syndrome is a dual effect, because it's also on the flip side of it, it's the thing that inspires me and pushes me forward.
David, how about you?
I mean, I think the imposter syndrome feeling is probably part of my process, at least in the lead up to doing the thing. There's always a moment where I'll, in the lead up to actually needing to act on, and do the work, in the preparation, that I may have feelings of that. It's certainly with, I think, just experience and time is not as much, but anything trying something new or taking risks, and which is kind of asked regularly and all the time in the job to do, those feelings can come creeping in. And I think for me, two things. One, just always trying to surround myself with people who are more talented. Like the crew here at The Daily Show is from the camera operators to the lighting designer, the technical director on the board, the audio people, the editors, they're all incredibly talented. I'm usually left in awe of what they can do. And they challenge me and make me rise to the level of performing well. So I always love being able to work with people who I love surrounding myself with people who are more talented than me. I think it's important. And then secondly, working with Trevor Noah for so long, he always really expected confidence from me. He really encouraged me, and he really believed me. He gave me my first paid directing gig years ago. And look, he's my friend, so he was being nice to instill the confidence, but also he was like, I need you to be confident because I need you to not mess up my project. So he really had that expectation of me to have confidence in the work that I approach, because he's like, I'm relying on you to do it, and don't let me, I don't want you to let me down and let this thing that we're doing together down. So I've always sort of been lucky to have people like that who encourage out of, being nice and out of, hey, you need to step it up, buddy. So it's been a nice thing to have.
Emily, how about you?
Oh my God. Just imposter syndrome is the only syndrome. It's just like constant and it's just what one feels all the time. But I remember when I first arrived in LA, in fact, I was visiting my then boyfriend, who's now my husband all these years later, but he took me to a party in Hollywood, and it was my sort of first Hollywood party or whatever. And he went off to the loo, and I was left standing by the bar, and some producer or something came up and started talking to me, and he asked me what I did. And I was so embarrassed to say that I was an actress, because I was an actress, but I knew I hadn't really done anything or been in anything he would ever see. And so I was just so cringed at saying it, and just the huge imposter syndrome. And he said, so what do you do? And I said, yeah, I'm an actress. And he went, really? And I went, yeah, but I'm not a very good one like this. And it was like, I could see all the wires in his brain just like fusing. He just got so confused and he made some excuse and sort of left. And I was like, oh, that wasn't obviously the right thing to say. But anyway, I've had that my entire life. Every moment on every set as an actor, I have it. And there was something about directing, again, kind of to Ken's point, that like cured me a little bit of it in a weird way, because it was like, it stopped being about me. It was more about, as an actor, it's all like, am I pretty enough? Am I young enough? Am I charming enough? Am I whatever enough? And the answer is always no. And as a director, it's not about that. It's about the story and telling the story and communicating the story to an audience. And that to me was so relaxing. It was just like a revelation. It's like, oh, I don't have to worry about, am I anything enough? I just want to tell this story, and I want to do it as best as I can because I really love this story and I want the people watching it to kind of get it. And I think that's the cure for imposter syndrome. And actually, when I think back on my performances as an actor that I'm proudest of, it's when that was the main thing, when I was so engaged in the story that I forgot worrying about the fact that I didn't belong and I wasn't good enough and I was about to get fired and all the things that normally take up the space in your head. So I would say, yes, imposter syndrome is just like endemic to everything that what we do. But if you can sort of like try to focus on the storytelling part of it, then it quietens the imposter syndrome down a bit.
Mimi, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, we all, I think, have it. Fear is the great motivator. And, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm still very frightened oftentimes when I hit a set but it's all inside. Outside you're calm, inside it's like another story. But I do feel once you focus on the story and you have the knowledge, you do, where's the confidence? Grab it and you find it. And then you stop focusing on yourself. Oftentimes people see in you what you don't see in yourself. And early in my career, I've been directing television. And, Spielberg called me and, I had been directing ER and he said, I want you to direct DreamWorks' first movie. And I said, what? And it's an action movie. And I went, well, I don't direct action. I don't know action. I don't know how to do that. And he said, oh yeah, you do. You know how to do that. You do it every day. In television. And so, it really, makes you look inside and go, what can I do? And, I didn't know anything about nuclear weapons on trains and shooting a train sequence and, 2 train tracks and one's overtaking the other. And I scouted every train track in Eastern Europe. And, you focus on the storytelling and then you figure out how to do it. And it's just a process. And as David said, you don't do it alone. You hire an incredibly beautiful crew that you fall in love with and you respect. And, they hold you up. If anybody says you do it alone, this is my vision alone. I mean, that's just a load of crap. Yes, you have a vision, but you create it together. We're a community of filmmakers, and there's nothing more joyous than when you turn around and you look at your operator, he's crying, and everybody's involved, everybody's in the moment. And so, yeah, we all have it, and you just have to overcome it and get over it.
And Ken, wrap us up.
I think maybe in what Emily was saying is, I think because of when I was an actor, and it was all, imposter syndrome was all tied in for me, with celebrity. And I mean, it was just a constant, it was really debilitating for me as an actor. it gets all tied up with, I think, expectations and what is right. And then, what Reggie said, it's true. It's like kind of then it becomes it becomes like, well, that's constantly there, I guess. I think one of the things that helped about directing was that the proof of, let's say, the proof that I belong in this position is either that I make or tell a good story or make a good episode of television or a movie, or I don't. And that was always so ephemeral as an actor. It's like, am I enough or am I not enough? That I just couldn't deal with that. But as a director, there is a certain extent, like you're either going to collapse, which would be really bad, or you're going to, depending with other people or with your collaborators and your own abilities and your prep, or you're going to get through it. And not only get through it, you're going to motivate other people, and you're going to make a good piece of work. It does become a little bit more, it's just an actionable thing. But I do think, which is kind of amazing, like, the group here, but I think it's true. It's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know if Spielberg feels it anymore. Maybe if you have enough people telling you all the time that you're a genius, you don't, but I would imagine that some part of that goes somewhere. It may not be any language that we understand or know, but I do think there's always a little bit of that. And if you lose that, I have a feeling that it's tied somewhat with humility. And if you lose your humility, then I don't know, I can't imagine you're going to be able to communicate or motivate other creative people. So it may just be something that, is endemic. I have a feeling with directors, hopefully it does become something that in one's maturity, one goes, okay, you recognize it, you shine a light on it, and you go, I can't give in to this. I need to be a grown-up and go, yep, that's right. That's always the risk, but it's a risk in every creative endeavor, I think. Hopefully people are humble enough to know that, like, it is a creative endeavor. So, you may get it right, you may touch people, you may motivate people, or you may not.
Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this Gold Derby Directors panel. So much respect for all of your work, and we're wishing you best of luck this Emmy season. Thanks again.
I want to say, all you guys, I know all of your work. I mean, Trevor Noah, come on, the guy is like God right now. He's so great. But all of you, Mimi, I've known forever, Emily and Reggie, I just respect all you guys so much. It's so cool to see you. Nice to see you again. Mimi and I have known each other for when Mimi was a young girl, just a script supervisor on Hill Street Blues.
That's right.
Wow.
And one day I saw you, this is very embarrassing, but I saw you kissing your wife.
Thank God it was
no, and I was, was down a wall of stages, and I went, wow, that is so beautiful. I never told you, but it was just, I saw it and I was like, wow. And Emily, I loved your movie, your 3 episodes. I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you. I love all of your stuff. It's wonderful. It's such an honor to be here with you guys.
Honor to be with all of you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, this was great, y'all. And congrats on everything. Really, really fun hearing you all talk about it. So
thank you.